You are listening to Level Up Your Gaming Podcast, episode 81, Checking In with Players. Today we talk about checking in with your players. We discuss why it's important to maintain a sense of how engaged your players are. We also discuss how to re-engage players or address a room that is not engaged. If you'd like to participate in the discussion or leave us feedback, you can contact us at levelupyourgamingpodcast@gmail.com or find us on Facebook at facebook.com/levelupyourgaming. If you like the content and want to hear more of the show, subscribing will ensure you don't miss an episode. New episodes come out almost every Wednesday. Also, please review, tell a friend about the podcast, or share with your gaming group. Now sit back and enjoy the episode. Welcome to the Level Up Your Gaming Podcast. My name is Aaron, and joining me in person, he's perceptive of all players, Jared.
Okay.
You are.
I wouldn't say so.
You got your eye on the button.
I mean, like
You got your finger on the button?
got his finger on the button?
What does that
button?
mean? What?
It's The Simpsons, for those of us who aren't. Just look up Homer, finger on the button. Got his finger on the button? What button? Trying to be elected head of the garbage
He does.
committee. But yeah, what's our topic today? Enough with the...
Well, we're not even going to banter for a little bit?
I mean, we could banter. Would you like to banter?
No, we bantered a lot.
What
in
are
the
we?
last,
Oh my god, I was a train off the freaking rails.
No,
I got very passionate.
I've got a kitten on my lap here, and that's about.
I know.
Up. She's attacking.
Yep, she's now attacking microphones.
I'm giving her corporal cuddles. Okay. Anyways, today we're going to be talking about player checking and reading the room. Okay. And the reason why I want to discuss this is how do we have how do you make sure that you're aware of the engagement of your players? We often talk about this where you're trying to look around the room. So without explicitly telling your players like, what am I doing?
Without explicitly saying, like, are you having a good time?
Yeah, are you having a good time? What's going on? How do you kind of read the room? Don't ever be afraid to ask your players.
I was about to say, like, think about it. If you're holding a party, right, and you're just like, you've got a few other people there, somebody's maybe new, you look at them and be like, are you having a good time? And they're like, yes, of course. Oh, my God. Because, you're holding a party. Parties are fun. Okay, reading the room is a very important skill, and it's difficult, and you must develop it. And especially with this modern time, oh, my God, it is extraordinarily difficult because we have these small computers that sit in our fucking hands. Everyone's got one. Everyone's addicted to it.
Well, the important thing is that
hold on, I'm not done with my tirade against cellular devices. Right. Everyone needs to stare at it for 8 hours plus per day on average. It's a cell phone. It's an iPad. It's their laptop. It's these electronic devices that we all swear we're looking at because we're just, watching the virtual whiteboard, or I swear I'm just looking at it because I'm checking my character sheet that I've got digitally, even though there's a paper copy in front of me.
Can you tell Jared's a little miffed about this?
I fucking hate it.
Now, to be
worst
fair, you didn't. When you used to be a player, on most of your games, you would just stare at your laptop.
Oh, yeah. And the thing is it was a bad habit. Yeah. It's a bad habit, and I've been working very hard to break that habit.
You're much, much better at it now. You actually engage in the game. I think it's helped you with your playing.
I think it has, too. Like, I put my cell phone, and I try not to look at my cell phone unless, I get a text from my wife or, there's something that a quick note that I need to write down. One of the things that helps is putting a not just putting it down, but in the virtual tabletop, because we do have one. So a laptop has to be opened. It has to. Is actually keeping it kind of at arm's length and only bringing it over when I need to roll dice or edit notes. And that's the only time that I really try to bring my laptop over. And I mean, like, the thing is, as a storyteller, unfortunately, like, I'm always getting ideas. I'm always going, oh my God, I should write about that. And I have to write down that note because otherwise it's gone.
But yeah, I mean, I think your first thing that you need to do to make sure before you can even start accurately reading the room is make sure that you've got the ground rule set. Like, we're not going to be on our cell phones. Is a lot harder if you're doing a virtual game because it is so easy.
Virtual games, you're screwed. If they've got 2 monitors, you're fucked.
It is so easy to just not be engaged. And the problem is that you have to work like double hard in a virtual game.
I have to bring up a lie. A lie that your players will tell you. So I convinced myself of this lie for so long, right?
Yeah.
It's a great lie, right? It's magnificent, and even I convinced myself it was great. Is your players will tell you, well, what I'm doing is, I'm just doing it not on my turns because I don't want to metagame. I have told that lie because what I really was doing was like, I have ideas. I want to type it out during game because I didn't have time during my regular week to do it.
I'd rather you metagame to high heaven, okay, than not be engaged at all in the game.
Exactly. And they'll tell you this in the way that you can suss it out is because, that's interesting because every time that I'm like, Aaron, you're like, what?
You go, what? And you're trying to then catch up on, like, what's going on.
What just happened? I'm sorry, I missed that.
You haven't put any thought into what you're going to do next. Let's say you've split the party, you're talking to two
literally tell them,
people.
like, you know what? It's okay if you metagame a little bit. I'm okay with that.
I'd rather you be engaged and metagame a little bit than not engage and be somewhere else and not be thinking about what you're doing next, where you want to go, the thoughts about the story, yada yada.
It's so, I mean, we had a, it's funny. It was Brian, Aaron, me, and Ken for a long time. And, like, Ken, I could tell, was just not engaged half the time because he was playing some phone on his game. Game on his phone. Here's my dyslexia for you.
It's tough. It's really, really tough.
You were competing against...
You're competing against a lot of external forces. And if you're... One... It's demoralizing as a GM.
Oh my God, it
because
sucks so hard.
It's like, is it not engaging, or is that player just not in the right headspace? Maybe it's just the player. Like, there's so many things, but like, it is evidently clear when you ask someone about something that they just are not, like, the gears just aren't turning and they're just not interested.
Yeah, they're just gone. They've been gone the entire time. It's abundantly clear, and your indicator is that they've got a phone in their hands. They're like, what? I'm sorry, what? And you very rarely see this during combat because combat moves fast, right?
Combat, you can see it in combat because if you have a bunch of people at the table and if you are not adept at moving combat quickly, it's not fast, not visceral, it's not super engaging. I swear to God, I've been in combats where you're fighting like 100 monsters, and it's just like a million rolls later, it's finally your turn to go again. Like, those combats are slow, they're arduous, they are like, why?
It's like gardening.
But the thing you're trying to...
I hate gardening.
Yeah, you do.
It's slow and arduous. Have you seen the outside of my house? Yes, I hate gardening.
But it's terrible. It's like watching paint dry. It's just not an engaging form of like any storytelling. So you have to be really, really aware of it. And even if you only have if you've got 7 players and it's one monster, like, you better find a way to be able to run through those like turn orders in like a minute, 2 minutes. Like, it's got to be quick.
You got to be fast. You have to be fast in combat because otherwise you're losing players.
Combat takes the longest. We've talked about it a million times before. This is like one of the easiest ways for people to just get disengaged, and it's painful. to just like, and the worst part is to get disengaged in a combat, because combat is typically the most exciting, fun part of the game experience, and it's just as a player, it's easy to get disengaged if things aren't moving along.
Yeah,
at a reasonable clip.
And so reading the room, you need to be constantly doing it. You really do. So what I would do typically is when I'm reading my room, I'm looking at my players. You gotta look up from your notes. You gotta look up from and even storytelling. You gotta look up from your laptop and look at your players. Look at their physical stances. Look at what they're doing in that moment of silence in the ball game.
And sure, you could see all faces in the room. If you're doing a virtual game, everybody better have a camera.
Oh my God. Yes.
Okay. It's that you can't do a virtual game where somebody doesn't have a camera, because if somebody doesn't have a camera, you've got no way to know.
I've got no feedback.
You've got no feedback whatsoever. You can't see the faces. You can't see anything.
I can't see if they're shocked, scared, excited. I can't see if they're bored out of their fucking minds.
Can't see if they're falling asleep.
Yeah, I can't see shit.
You can't read the room if you can't see.
You can't read the room. Essentially, your only read at that point is you're like, Don, what are you doing? And they go, what?
And then that's your cue.
That's your cue.
Basically, they haven't been engaged for the last 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, and if that's happening, it sucks. And oh my God, I just hate cellular devices so fucking much a game. Oh my God. I do. I fucking do. It's because, I'm sorry, we've got to compete against, 9,000 frames per second, 9 million frames per second. We got to compete against that. 9 billion bit graphics. I got to compete against that. They literally have whole marketing departments. They design their things so you're on it all the time. Even my Risk game, the sound you're now hearing is my cat playing with the blinds.
They've discovered Windows today, apparently.
Yes, they have, unfortunately. So we just hear this and sticking their face into the blinds. It's like, ha-ha! And it's like the same thing that was out there before was out there again. So that is a huge indicator. Are people looking at their cellular devices? Are they looking at their laptops? Are they responding slowly? Are they asking for clarifications on what just happened? Not like, what did that person say again? I didn't hear that. I'm talking about they look at you blank-faced and go, what? Huh? I'm sorry I missed that, which is, those are all indicators that they have disengaged. The look on their face, huge indicator that they've, we can tell so much as human beings just by looking at one another. Getting our faces out of the DM, the monster manual, and looking at a person and saying, where are you at? And saying in our brains, not actually physically or actually out loud asking them. It's just looking at them like, where's this person at? Trust me, you take that 1 second, it's very important. So those are huge indicators. You can also feeling out the whole room as a whole, as an organic thing. Just like, are my players talking with one another?
And again, this goes even beyond just disengagement in the game. Like, reading the room is also reading.
Are they scared?
You want to know, are they keying in on the emotions I'm maybe trying to convey, or are they shocked and horrified? Like, maybe this is something that's super uncomfortable for everyone in the room. Again, it's being able to see what people are doing. It's about reading the emotions of your players and then being able to react accordingly to those emotions effectively. So it's not just disengagement. Disengagement is the one that you're trying to avoid.
Yeah, that's the death one.
That's the one that you typically. That's the reason why GMs typically will ask the question at the end of a game. Hey, what are you guys thinking? How's this working out? Do you like the game? Do you do this? Because if you don't see anything, you have, if you don't see any like facial expressions, or you're having trouble reading the players, that's the only cue you're going to get, because sometimes or if you're seeing the disengagement for your players, that might be the cue, like, hey, it's just, this isn't enjoyable for us as the players.
Yeah,
and like I might not be able to vocalize that until the GM kind of says, hey, I'm, what how do we feel about this? Like, I don't want to approach it with openness and honesty, and trying to get the best answer out of your players, because players will oftentimes deal with shit stories, things that they don't like, for a very long time before they finally have the courage to tell you this just isn't good.
Yeah, like it does take a lot. You have to have open and honest communication, and the thing is, as a storyteller, oh my God, it is so hard to accept that something that you've put so much time and so much effort into isn't very enjoyable for your players. It sucks to hear. But here's the thing. What is the goal? Are the players having fun? And if you're not reaching that goal, it's time to shut it down. It unfortunately, or retool at the very least. Okay. They are telling me, Jared, there just isn't enough combat. We're just sitting around doing puzzles that you force us to figure out, even though we're like, roll trap. And it is so, it's painful, and it's going to be painful, but only from pain do we have growth. Sorry, my kittens are now playing with each other, which means a lot of running around and jumping on top of each other. And Aaron having to defend his water.
I had to defend my territory.
He does. There you go. So the thing is that it is a back to rechecking on am I getting the emotion that I want? So the emotion that you want, I'm going to focus on fear here because fear is very easy. It's easy to talk about because I do a lot of horror games, obviously. Sorry, guys. Sorry, listeners. They are now fighting under the table. So fear really, when you're reading a room and you're looking at them and they're not fully engaged, or you can tell that it's just not creeping them out. They're not going, oh my God. There's some very basic maneuvers that you can do to re-engage the party. Crank up the scary music, have something actually jump out at them. This is a little bit of a tangent, but I have found in doing lots of horror stories. Hold on, folks. I'm giving Aaron sorry, we have to train our cats, so thus we use squirty bottles. No, I promise this is not turning into a podcast on how to train your cat. Not unlike How to Train Your Dragon.
Thumbs up choice.
Huh?
It's a thumbs up choice.
Yeah, so we're just gonna. You got to train your cats just like you train your dogs.
But anyways, again, we had that whole episode on how to kind of elicit the emotions that you want to get out of people. It's really important that, like, if you're getting the wrong emotions out of people, or if you're getting frustration or anger, things that you were not trying to elicit, like, again, you got the mental game, the traps coming in, and now you're seeing that your players are all
pissed off
every time, like, all right, I guess I'm going to roll to disable traps again. Or they don't even say what they're doing. They just roll. I roll a 15. Like,
that is a good indicator when they are literally, when you're not looking at them and they're excited because they're like, I already rolled a 15. What did I do?
Or if they're not expanding on, like, the best way to say it would be, like, if they're not expanding on the detail of what they're doing in combat,
on their action,
like,
indicator.
You're sensing the disengagement there. You're kind of reading that level of disengagement.
And they're just like, I rolled a 15.
So without explicitly calling it out, how do you bring players back in or try to re-engage the players?
So the first thing I'm going to give a precaution to. A lot of storytellers I've noticed over the years, they go from 1 to 10, right? Even with just not disengagement. But anything, they're like, oh, they're not scared enough. So I'm going to drop the big bad right now, right? I more highly recommend kicking up a notch, maybe 2, right? I've seen a lot of storytellers like, oh, my players are disengaged. Boom! Giant in the middle center of town. It shakes up town and just decides to destroy things. And now it's breaking up your town. Has nothing to do with your story. Has nothing to do with the town that you just spent 4 hours crafting the map for. You know, and you're destroying it. Our sound. I'm not sure what sound engaged.
No sound engaged. Don't worry about it. I saw that coming. I should have tried to avoid that.
I don't know. The kittens, they're unpredictable.
But anyways, yeah. But
they go to the tops.
You're taking it to an extreme to try to engage people. Yes, throwing a giant in the middle of town certainly is exciting, but if your players are lulled to sleep, even that level of excitement might not change.
Well, it's just I've seen so many storytellers completely deviate from what we are actually doing and what we're actually accomplishing, to just throw in a random event that doesn't even have to deal with the story. You know, let's say we're trying to find the Emerald Key, right? In the town of Gloucester. All right? I don't know why it's named after a Boston neighborhood, but
Jared's on point with these names recently.
Gloucester. No, I'm just literally pulling from geography.
Okay.
All right. So in the town of Gloucester, we're trying to find the Emerald Key, and we sense disengagement, and we immediately go on this high alert. We immediately just say, well, giant drops in the middle. Bam. Now I'm going to get my player who loves beating shit up. I'm going to get those 3 players to love it. And you know what? There we go. That's my solution. That's a terrible solution. It's an awful solution, but it's a knee-jerk reaction, and it's a human reaction. My players are disengaged. I'm going to drop something extremely exciting, right? It's like trying to keep someone awake by slapping them in the face. Like, bro, calm down. It works
only for like 30 seconds.
You know, when really what you got to do, oh my God, these kittens. They're babies. Y'all understand. It's they're babies. Babies breaking shit. That instead of going straight for the slap, you need to go for the gentle reminder. The hey, are you awake? You know, the waving at your friends. You know, which is as they enter into the bar that, you know, you had planned for them to enter the bar to speak to the Purple Lord about the Emerald Key, or we'll say Obsidian Lord about the Emerald Key. You'd planned he was going to be sitting there enjoying a drink accompanied by a few friends, right? And they would have to social their way in, kind of butt in the conversation, even though he didn't want them in the conversation. Put 2 guards there now. It has to do with the story. It still progresses, and it's going to maybe boost it up, you know, just a little bit. Even if it was like, oh, we're going to talk to the old wizard who has no friends, who's going to be sitting in the corner drinking, right? Mm-hmm. You walk in, and 2 people are hustling him for money. 2 guys got him by the shirt, saying, "Give us the freaking money you owe us."
Yeah, just break.
Now I gotta stop them. Now I got to get them to break off. I've just increased it just a little bit. I've kicked it up a notch. Instead of a giant just suddenly falling in the middle of town because I've decided to slap my player in the face, I'm now gently raising them awake, and it still has to do with the story.
Yeah, I mean, like you said there, that then gives your players that kind of like, whoa, things are ratcheting up here a little bit. Like the pressure is being turned on a little bit. It's effectively what you're trying to do. And the other thing that you want to make sure is, and this is not to what your point was, but also check your energy level. Make sure that
oh my God, yes, good point.
Make sure that it is where it needs to be able to convey the level of excitement, the level of danger, the level of engagement that you would expect or want from your players. Because maybe you're just like, again, maybe you're running a combat and you're slogging through the combat. Okay, you have no clue about the turn order. You're trying to figure out the most optimal way to murder your barbarian. Okay, and you're now spending far too much time, and now the players are just like, ain't got time for this. Or you're not moving narrative. You're waiting for the players to drive the next moment.
Oh God!
So like this is the ultimate like abdication on both sides of the table, which is like, if you're like, I'm going to let my players figure out what they want to do next.
I have seen the storyteller retaliation of that.
And so you just kind of
if you guys aren't going to do anything, I'm not going to do anything either. And oh my God, it is the worst.
So you just kind of sit there, and then you realize, well, why are my players doing anything? It's
I haven't done anything to them. Why aren't they doing anything? Because we're just as disengaged.
What do you want to do next? Like, if they're already disengaged, nobody cares what they do next. Okay, you have to make sure that narrative moves and drives, which is like, it's like you've stopped the car and you're expecting them to get out and push it.
Exactly, and when instead, there's simple ways to do that, which is offer them options. Well, it seems that you guys, in your quest for the Emerald Key, have located these 3 points, reminding them of the points of the past, and then directing them towards it. You can go to the bar to find the old wizard, you can go to the castle to talk to the Obsidian Lord, or you can go to,
reboot the moment in the game.
Reboot. Press reset. Don't when it freezes, press the reset button. Don't just like go, because I've seen it. Oh my God, I've seen it so many times. A storyteller I worked with did that so many freaking times. Well, what do you guys want to do? I don't know. We don't have a narrative. We don't know where to go. We're sitting here like, well, last time that we went to the Obsidian Castle, we got our asses kicked. Last time we went to the bar, he wasn't there, so we don't know.
This is that you actually segued right into my next point, which is one of the other things, which is one of the gaming sins that we've kind of talked about, is not having multiple ways to do things. And by not having multiple ways to do things, if your players get shut down left and right, like, and you've been shutting them down, you've been closing every door they try to walk through, your players are going to start shutting down on your story because they don't know where to go next, or they're just waiting for you to give them the key to go to the next place. And
the Emerald Key.
The Emerald Key, exactly. But if your players constantly need reminders of all the things that they need to go do, or your checklist of items they need to go do.
Your MacGuffins.
Maybe it's your story that's driving the non-engagement there. And you have to be really, really careful of that. Like, if your player's like, I'll give you an example here. If your player goes, you go, okay, what do you want to do right now? And your player goes, well, I'm going to go around town. I'm going to ask about this thing, and I'm also going to ask about this other thing that's tangentially related to your story. Okay, I'm going to see, hey, maybe has there been any like rumors about this thing? Okay, this is a great moment for you, if you never had any rumors planned, to pull some GM magic behind the screen and give them.
I've heard the Obsidian Lord, has a secret entrance to the castle.
I've heard this wizard not only hangs out at the tavern, but he also has an underground burrow in the forest. Boom.
That's protected by dark magic.
Boom. Okay, your players have been waiting to talk to this fucking wizard. They haven't been able to figure out how to do it at this point.
And by the way, sorry, I'm going to segue. Not segue. I'm going to add to the point. Do not Do not, when you're like, he has a burrow in the forest, and the players go, okay, where's the burrow? I don't know. Now you're just compounding. My problem got solved, but it didn't get solved.
Now you're just compounding. I don't know, because you still have to go to the tavern. No. This isn't follow my MacGuffin trail until you get to the wizard. Okay? You're trying to find a creative way to solve the problem. This is actually this is a player calling out to be re-engaged with the game, and you're just like, fuck you, and you close the door.
No.
No, do it my way. Okay.
Okay, I said you meet him at the tavern at 8 because I have a bar fight planned. Like, no, fuck the bar fight. You gotta be able to switch
have a bunch of goblins surrounding his burrow when they go to the burrow. Okay, better.
You owe us money.
Yes. Okay.
I don't know why I'm on the owing money thing. Maybe we got the cat shots today and it was a freaking arm and a leg. But owe us money. You know, or maybe half the town folk are out there with torches like, oh, you didn't get the memo?
We're going to murder the wizard.
We're going to murder the wizard.
We're going to sacrifice the wizard to appease the gods of the harvest.
You know, come on. What better a sacrifice? Now, please come out nobly. This is for your own good and the good of the people. And the wizard's like, please, God, no!
You know what they say, sacrifice wizard, early peaches.
Sacrifice wizard, early peaches. I like it. Note to self, sacrifice wizard. I do like peaches. Peach cobbler specifically. I know everything.
The other thing too that you can do there is by not just interjecting like trouble and stuff, but interjecting like humor can also.
Humor's great.
Humor is one of the best ways to re-engage the players, because the moment that they start laughing, then
watch that energy come up.
The energy starts coming up in the room. Okay, so if that's a good way, your players will take a good hearty laugh that you got a bunch of people out there trying to sacrifice a wizard for early peaches. Like,
really? Early peaches? Yes, peaches are our main trading commodity.
And then you end up with this great brouhaha against the townsfolk who are just a bunch of peasants and stuff. And it's just like you put on some energetic fight music and just get a good old fisticuffs brawl going or something.
Exactly. A good old, like, nobody's aiming to kill.
No one's aiming to kill, but people are just aiming to, like, smack with the flat of the sword or punch someone in the face.
And then most people couldn't even afford a sword back then, so they're just like, I'm going to hit you with my tree branch. Now, watch out for your barbarian, because your barbarian's like, I got hit with a tree branch. I'm going to skewer him. Like, holy shit. What happens? Town runs. You've interjected a small amount of combat. Yeah, your barbarian ruined it because it was meant to be funny, and your barbarian decided to...
That could also be the screeching part where the town books it like, oh, holy shit.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, that is quite literally like if you're in a crowd of people and, you know, or in a bar fight. Some people have actually been in a good old-fashioned bar fight, and then you hear gunshots. Trust me, everyone's heading to the exits. They're trampling over one another to head to the exits.
Again, I'll always start in as you look out. Is it something that I'm doing right now that's disengaging everyone? And if it is, maybe it's the seriousness of my story. Maybe it's that it's too MacGuffin-y, and they're so, like, I just don't care. Just give me the fucking wizard. Like,
give me the goddamn wizard.
Like,
I want this fucking emerald key.
And if you just pushed for 3 more game sessions and you kept asking how things are going, at the end of that 3rd game session, they'd say, we can't find the goddamn wizard.
All right, we arrive at the bar every time at morning when somebody, and it's hilarious because they'll get locked onto one single rumor. Oh yeah, the wizard arrives every morning for breakfast.
They'll stake out that bar,
and they'll only arrive at morning. They'll only arrive at morning because they're like, okay, well, watch him for Almerzo. That's breakfast, right?
I don't know.
Okay, well, I think that's lunch, actually. Either way, they're going to stay there for breakfast, but they won't expand it to be like, oh, the guy was actually an idiot and it's lunch that he arrived for. So they're like, well, fuck it. And then it turns into the great stakeout, which my players are so fond of. But we do a lot of investigation games, and stakeout is like kind of part of it.
We have not. We actually only did 1 stakeout in your games.
That's true, because you didn't know when the person got off of work.
We didn't know when the person got off of work. You want to know what was great about that stakeout? You've learned from previous lessons.
I had the monster come and attack you during the stakeout.
And
then it turned into a shootout?
I predicted that was going to happen. No, you just fast forwarded to the part that was important.
Yeah. I'm not going to say like
in the past, you would have gone through hour to hour on that damn stage.
Are you guys doing anything from 3 to 4, from 4 to 5? Fuck that! No, you see it's 6:00 a.m. The monster comes out from the basement.
We had food. We did the stakeout with steaks. Okay,
it was pretty cool. They got steaks for their stakeout.
But that, again, tangent.
Okay? Tangent alert.
If you're a GM who's like, look, I'm going to go hour by hour to try to frustrate my players into not finishing the thing that they want to do, like, why?
If you are that storyteller, please look into
why
we do this.
Why?
If you are literally just there to piss off your friends, re-examine being a storyteller. There's a lot and your relationship with your friends.
There's a lot of easier ways to do it, but it's like, why? I don't care. Like, you're waiting outside for 4 hours. It's been a long time. What do you think? Like, don't try to goat them into doing something else. Like, your players will eventually get there. Or you could be like, okay, you're out there. It's been 12 hours. You've spent the entire day staking this person out. Like, it's starting to get dark outside. Like, how much longer? Do you want to wait longer? Like, you guys haven't had food for, like, 8 hours now. you ate the steaks 4 hours in, and now you're
when it's not going to be successful, you literally just cut them off and be like, guys, it's been 24 hours. You haven't seen shit.
Yeah.
I don't think you can even break the fourth wall. I don't think they're coming. And if your players still aren't getting that hint,
you wait for a very long time. You're starting to get hungry. You send someone to go get food. They come back, but you wait and wait and wait, and it's been 23 hours.
Go home. Look at your players and be like, guys, I don't think this is going to work.
And they're like, no, I still think it is. Go, like, make me an intelligence roll.
There you go. Guys, this is not going to work. Damn it, really? Yes, really.
Go ahead and roll me an intuition right now.
There you go.
They don't live there anymore.
They don't live there. They haven't lived there for 3 years.
Yeah. Sorry.
You notice the mailbox has a different name on it. Shit. But back to, the initial point of reading the room, you always have to maintain a constant vigilance on your players' levels. And I really like that Aaron did bring up their energy levels. Sometimes if you're reading the room and the room just isn't engaged, don't think it's automatically because of a bad story. It might have been everyone's really tired. Look out for those things and feel them out before you have game. You might have a standing Saturday night where it's like, oh, we get together for game on 7:00. But if some of your people are like, man, I'm just fucking exhausted. It was a terrible fucking week. I don't know.
Don't force the players
to play.
You
want them to play when that's like telling your friend to come play basketball when they're really freaking tired and then pissed off because they're not hitting 3-pointers. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. Like, I would rather my friend tell me, like, you know what? I'm not in the right headspace. I would open and honest, because sometimes you muck up that playing. Your players aren't playing. Sometimes I forced myself to do it, and I've been like, man, that was not the greatest game ever.
It really depends on your mental state, because a lot of times you might have like a day that you're not having I would say the best day, but then game always kind of tends to cheer you up. So it does turn your day around.
It does. And the thing is with role playing is and all, if you bring your group together, right, and the energy is really low and you've tried upping it up a notch, you know what I mean?
Tried interjecting some humor.
You've tried some tricks. Don't be afraid of closing it up shop for the night. We're clearly not having a great game of basketball. Why don't we get together next week for basketball? And honestly, if you shut it down early enough, okay, this is because, like, all right, for our audience, I go to bed at like 8:00. And I wake up at 5. I am a true believer in Benjamin Franklin, early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. So far, it's worked for healthy. The other two I'm still pending on. Still pending. The wealthy and wise part.
The other two, the jury's still out. So
jury's still out on that. Define wealth. And certainly define
You have
wise.
a wealth of knowledge.
I do have a wealth of knowledge, useless knowledge. My wife and I tried playing trivia last night, and my wife's like, "How the fuck do you know this shit?" I'm like, "I don't know, babe. I know about the Battle of Broken Timbers. Who the fuck knows that shit?" It's because goddamn Pinterest. That's why. That would have been a great ad space right there. Goddamn Pinterest. That's why. You can spend hours looking at. No, okay. There we go. Ad space.
All right, Pinterest, if you want to advertise with us, Jared's got a great read for you. So.
Literally, your advertisement will start off with goddamn Pinterest.
That's why.
But it gets people's attention. But don't hesitate to roll to a natural conclusion for the evening, natural, and send everyone home. Go to bed. Don't stay up going, well, usually I stay up until 3 a.m. on Saturdays playing video games. Okay, if you've got like 7 hours left, like before normally game would end, and you feel up to it, start reworking, retooling, and figuring out how you're going to salvage it next week. I had a really low energy week. Figure out what's going on. Okay, well, you know what? Tom said that, you know, he was having problems with his girlfriend all week, so maybe it wasn't external factors. But you know what? I want to make sure that I amp it up a notch. We didn't have any combat tonight. I want to make sure I make a combat. You know what? Let's give Tom a spotlight moment next week. But go to bed, wake up early, and start hitting those books, you know, unless you have
And
work
again,
in the morning.
is the issue, like we said at the beginning, is the issue that the phones are just out? Put the phones away. Put the phones in a bucket.
Put the goddamn phone down.
Put the phones in a bucket. Okay?
Okay, you don't have to go that far, but no phones on table.
Yes. Phones,
Screens down.
screens down. We're here. We're going to engage. Or if you do end up breaking the game early because of what Jared's talking about, trying to stop the bleeding, let's say, okay, ask the players. Be like, listen, I got the sense that things weren't going, you know, weren't up to snuff tonight. Like, help me out. Like, bring it up. Like let them know that you saw it too.
But steel yourself, because you're gonna get feedback, and it's all not gonna be positive. But remember, it's hilarious because I worked in the world of training and education. So, you know, everyone says there's positive and negative feedback. No, there's 3 kinds of feedback. There's positive, constructive, and negative. Okay, negative is useless. If people are like, well, you suck, I can't do shit with that. That's what I call negative feedback. Trust me, I analyze customer service data as part of my job now. When people go, you suck, and our customers are asking us, how are we going to avoid that in the future? I go, I can't, because I don't know where we suck. I will look a multi-million-dollar company in the face and be like, there's nothing I can do with that. Now, this one guy who says it took you forever to pick up, yeah,
I can do something with that.
I can do something with that. I can look at the data and be like, holy crap, our call to answer time was 9 minutes.
I doubt your players are going to tell you you suck.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully
Your players tonight just sucked. Okay, ask them to expand on that a little bit, because tonight just sucked.
Do you care to expand upon that statement?
If they're like, because I'm freezing my balls off, because if you come to Jared's house, it's always fucking cold. Because my wife and I are penguins. I'll be like, here's a fucking blanket. Poof.
You do have blankets everywhere.
We have blankets everywhere. My wife and I are cuddly people. We like to cuddle in blankets because it's soft and fuzzy. What? I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
Just can know it.
Just
Fuck them. If anyone's like, ooh, cuddly. Yeah, I like to get cuddly with my wife. I like to be so fucking snuggly.
Okay.
Fuck you.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Whoa. Okay, negative feedback right there. Example.
Negative feedback. What do I do with that?
What do I do with that? Okay, I think I can't do anything with that. But yeah, no, just
But constructive feedback is very helpful.
just be prepared for that moment, and take it to heart, because again, you can use that to then reboot the game next week, or you can use it to adjust the game and get out of the rut that you're in.
Yeah, and it's very helpful when your players are like, dude, we haven't seen combat in 3 sessions. Okay, now I know, and go back to our combat thing, like I recommend. At least one good solid combat every other game session, at the very least.
Yeah, this game, it's moving really, really slow right now. It's a slog where we've been solving these damn puzzles left and right.
Fucking puzzles.
Okay, so again, that's all I have to say on it. What, do you have anything
No,
else you wanna add?
that's where I'm at. You know, always be alert, always be. And if you find yourself shutting down the game a lot, time to
change the game.
Time to change the game. Maybe it's time for Star Wars: Edge of Empires.
Edge of the Empire.
Edge of the Empire, and there another ad space. Come on.
Well, anyways, if you have any thoughts about how you kind of read the room, have you ever had one where it just kind of blew up? Do you have any tips that you like to do to kind of re-engage the room?
Ooh.
Do
you have tips on how you check your players?
Yeah, how do you check your players? How do you kind of seek feedback in that space? Contact us at levelupyourgamingpodcast@gmail.com or facebook.com/levelupyourgamingpodcast. You can go ahead and leave us a comment there, send us a message there. All that stuff is good. We are also on YouTube.
So go ahead and examine why you want to hit that bell, and then click it anyway.
And engage, yes.
And engage. Engage us by clicking the bell.
Yes.
Oh! Good save, Aaron. Good save.
Thank you. And go ahead and share with your gaming
That was
group.
a Kaner save right there.
Thanks. Yeah, Spinorama. Okay. And go ahead and share this with your friends, your gaming group, anybody else who's a GM. We do appreciate that. Go ahead and review us on your favorite podcast site. We really would appreciate that as well. And that's going to wrap us up for the week. So for Jared, I'm Aaron. Have a great week, everyone.
Have a wonderful week, everyone.